Welcome back to the class, everyone. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis and his event are coming back in just a few short days. And with that being said, we need to take a good look now at how to mod Zeta and Relic him. And more importantly, what is he even going to do? So that really is the purpose of this whole video, and we will be answering all those questions and more. I have also included the infographic you can see on the right side of the screen there. It'll come in and out periodically because sometimes it does just get in the way. But we do really want to answer all those questions. How are we going to mod this character? What Zetas does he need and what priority do they come in? And on top of that, what are the comps that he's actually going to be used in, and why is he relevant? What is he actually going to take down? Why was it worth farming those 4 other characters or 5 other characters up to be able to get him? So I do want to start off with talking about the Zetas, the priority of them and the importance of them, particularly because number 1, that's important. Number 2, it's going to show a little bit of a functionality, and that'll help explain why we want him to do the rest of the things that he's going to do. So as far as Zetas goes, his most important one is going to be Impetuous Assault. And the reason why is because this is the majority of his use, is the fact that he is going to have an instant defeat. So that's what the Zeta does here on the level 7. It allows the first time this is used to instantly defeat the target enemy. This becomes very important because the main 2 teams that he's going to beat, and we'll look at them more later, is Lord Vader and Malgus, with teams that particularly would really struggle with beating them before, and having an instant defeat within a couple of turns to either just straight up kill Malgus because he's not a galactic legend and you can do that, or to kill a really pivotal character on a Lord Vader team like Royal Guard or Maul that otherwise would take forever to be able to get down, and then you can immediately start working on the rest of the team before Lord Vader gets going, is invaluable. It changes the win rates on those fights for Jedi drastically, and you really have to have this. If you don't have this, Cal is great. He does some other things where he makes the whole team immune to fear, as well as having an AoE dispel, but at the same time, this is most of why he's important. This is about 50% of his kit right here. If you do not have the Zeta, you're going to have a lot harder of a time, and it's more valuable than the other 2. That being said, we do need to talk about the second most important Zeta for him, and that is going to be Jedi Survivor. And it actually intertwines quite a bit with the previous one, because what this is going to do is it's going to give you more stacks of Impetuous every single time that Cal gains a configuration. The reason why this is important is because those stacks end up generating more stats like offense and speed. But on top of that, if you're not gaining the 5 every single time that you're changing between these special abilities, it is going to take you forever to get to 30, and you really need 30, because if you don't have 30, you don't get to use this ability at all. You have to have at least 30 stacks of Impetuous for this ability to be used. So again, going back to the whole thing where half of Cal Kestis' kit is wrapped up in the insta-kill to be able to take out Malgus, or again, another really powerful character, it's going to take you forever to get there if you do not have the Jedi Survivor Zeta to go along with it. So these 2 are really important. If you want to get Cal to at least a baseline functionality, you have to have both of these. If you're on a super tight Zeta crunch right now, you can put off Windmill Defense for a little bit. We kind of have that listed as our 3rd one here. This is really nice. I do enjoy being able to give bonus turns to target other Jedi for 2 reasons. Number 1, bonus turns are good, but furthermore, there's a lot of abilities out there right now that stop just raw turn meter gains, because Jedi have a ton of turn meter gains within their kits, but a lot of times they can't even be used because, again, when going up against comps like Malgus where they have a ton of shock and doubt, that really kind of curb stomps this, as well as Lord Vader's dots and days also stop turn meter game. Bonus turns get to bypass that entirely. They don't care about turn meter because they just get you right to the turn to begin with. So it does have some value on top of that, but ultimately he's functional without this. This is nice. It does make the character better. It does help those matchups slightly, but at the end of the day, he's functional without them. So that is really going to take care of the Zeta portion of this. Now I do want to spend a very short minute on Omicrons. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is our first really TW Omicron focused character. He has 3 of them, and I'm just gonna start out by saying this: you really don't want any of them unless you're some TB fanatic and you just want to play it to play, and that's great if you are. Don't apply any of them. You can not only make it to the planet Zepho in TB, but you can also max out that area completely in your guild if everybody has 0 Omicrons on Cal, just how it works out. You can deploy over 3 days, and with that strategic deploying, you can get all the way max your rewards out there, and you can even use the other Cal to be able to beat the Braca mission with Seer, to be able to even gain access to it. And you can even use Jedi Knight Cal, but without the Omicron. So they are cool. They do some things, but if you're trying to be efficient overall in your Omicrons, how you spread them out, where you're getting value and where you're getting value back, you just don't need these. The leadership is probably the shiniest. It does a lot of fun things like giving 100% max health protection and 300% of his defense, as well as turn meter, frenzy. His stacks don't go away. Again, it's a great ability. It's just not needed. You focus on GAC, focus on TW, focus on Raid. There are plenty of other good places to give Omicrons. TB just isn't it, especially when you can do everything that you need to do with Cal-related things inside of that. That being said, again, if you want to put one on for the sake of funsies, put on the lead. Enjoy getting to beat up that one special mission, or not even special mission, the one mission that he has on that planet, on Zepho. All right, now when we get to modding, things are going to be a little bit different. So we have to view Jedi Knight Cal Kestis first as a support character and then as an attacker. I realize he has an insta-kill and that's very much an attacker's thing, but what he is doing functionally for most of the teams through his unique ability, not allowing enemies cooldowns to be increased, or rather ally cooldowns to be increased, as well as giving them a bunch of bonuses for when they're feared. We want to keep him alive. If he's not alive, he loses the ability to insta-kill someone. He loses all those juicy uniques that come with it. So the primary way most of us are going to be wanting to mod him is for just pure health with enough speed to get him moving. So this is, I realize this is Night Sister Zombie, but she is currently my placeholder for all my Cal Kestis mods, and this is exactly what I'm going for. 15 speed on a health primary on the cross, on the circle, on the triangle. That's really my goal. I do still like the speed arrow. He wants to be able to move, and his base speed isn't all that great, so the arrow on top of that does make things really helpful. But for the most part, I want him as healthy as possible. Number one, so that he survives, so they can ultimately get the insta-kill. But other than that, he actually does have several other mechanics in his kit that make him lean more towards health. He gets protection up, which is based off of his health. Not only that, but he has an attack that deals damage based off his max health with an impetuous assault. And then I guess if you really want to include it, he also recovers health every single time another Jedi ally attacks out of turn. So he is a health focused character. He also loses defense, so that kind of devalues defense in a way. So this is really the best way to get survivability out of him. And for those of you who are wondering, all right, we want to use this against Lord Vader, it wouldn't help me bad. Well, the protection up really does kind of help balance that out, because protection up is based off of health, and it will take them longer to chew through that if his health is higher. Now, I will say this is going to depend on how much relic investment you want to put into Cal. If you're just wanting to get a lot of PvP viability out of him, Relic 5 and this style modding is going to be enough. We really want him to be at about 270 speed or higher, or 100k health or higher. If you can meet those goals at, let's say, R7 or R8 because you wanted to invest more, maybe because you wanted to use him on Zepho and Braca, which you would need to be R7 in both those cases, you can start exploring some offensive modding choices that aren't necessarily necessary, but are good and valuable. The first thing that you're going to want to swap out if you do take him to Relic 7 or Relic 8 and can still make 100k health is a crit damage triangle. That'll help boost his offense in the best way possible. He does get a lot of offensive boosts already from other places in his kit. Adding the crit damage on it and a significant amount is going to help him hit harder. And if you have him at a really high relic, you can still maintain 100k health, a crit damage triangle. You can even opt for an offense set on him. So he's not really, it's not that he doesn't want offense, it's just that he wants health more. And that again varies where you have him with those relic levels and where he's already getting those stats from. So overall, that does cover what he wants for modding as well as relics. Now, last and certainly not least, we need to talk a little bit about the comps that he's going to be used in. Like we said at the very beginning of the video, he does change win rates drastically on a few counters that Jedis typically struggled with in the past, whereas they could kind of make it work before. And the two that I want to talk about is specifically Malgus and Lord Vader. So this is the comp, and again, there's a little bit of flexibility here when it comes down to the comp. But this is majority of the time what you're going to want to be able to take out Malgus. Jedi Knight Luke's leadership ability is so strong they made sure that he couldn't use it against Galactic Legend. That being said, Malgus is not a Galactic Legend, so he gets to reduce the entire enemy's lead to 0 speed, or not 0 speed, to his own speed, which against the Malgus team, Malgus is very fast, and typically so is Darth Revan. And then once they're down there, this team has the tools necessary to be able to take him down. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, the really one valuable thing, or I guess two valuable things he's bringing to the table here, is that all Jedi allies are immune to cooldown manipulation. This is important because when your whole team gets feared, that's supposed to increase cooldowns. This makes it so that does not happen. In addition to that, he's also immune to fear, ability block, and stun, which is all great. And on top of that, anytime a Jedi ally is inflicted with fear, they gain damage immunity for 1 turn and 60% turn meter. So he has all these ways of protecting his fellow Jedi from fear and stuff like that when you're fighting against those Sith Empire teams. General Luke himself is already immune to it, but this kind of helps bolster the team in general to be able to take down that higher target. Mace is really nice. He prevents timeouts because he can keep reducing the max health of the enemy until it's about 0. Jedi Luke can reduce it only about 50%, which is still good, but Mace kind of helps close it out a little bit. Jedi Revan is also nice because he can immediately mark someone important like Basilisk Fallen, because when Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, he can insta-kill Malgus, and that's great, but then you still have a really cool character named Malik to deal with if you don't have a way to bypass the taunt. So Hoda is kind of interchangeable here. Some people use Basilisk, some people use Shock. Not the most important character, but he's typically more of a free agent. And you can't even swap these two bottom characters out to some effect in 5v5, but this is overall one of the better comps. And if you do that, the really cool thing about if you do that is you can still do everything else you want to with your Jedi squads. You can still make a really good Jedi Master Luke team. You can still make a really good Qui-Gon team. You don't have to tear apart your JMK team. You can give Old Ben to Leia. You can give Gas to the 501st. You can give Kyle Katarn to Mon Mothma. You can give Starkiller a Jedi tank. You can give Phoenix Kanan. You can give Rey Barris. If you still want to kill Malgus and want to have, 7 other teams where all their Jedi are in their best homes, you can still do that. I feel like he really completes, at least in my roster, a lot of that. And there's going to be a little bit of flexibility when it comes to your own personal roster, because I'm imagining most people watching this don't have all the Jedi in the world, including our good friend Omicron. But as it is, oh, she's even missing a mod. Wonderful. So if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to go after Malgus, you're like, I already have C, that's not a problem. Why would I do that? You can upgrade to the Lord Vader killer. Now, I will say Jedi Master Luke has always had a shot at killing Lord Vader. It's not really entirely out of his wheelhouse, but the win rates without Jedi Knight Cal Kestis are at about 55% or something like that. With Cal, they shoot up to about an 89%. He changes drastically what this team is able to do. And again, it's for kind of the same reasons that we were talking about before. The insta-kill immediately narrowing down the enemy team. The fact that he can't have his allies' cooldowns increase. So when Maul gets to go right in the very beginning and increase one random Jedi's cooldowns, it doesn't matter because all Jedi allies are immune to cooldown manipulation from the enemy team. And then on top of that, he gets the bonus turn. He also supplies protection up. He also has a dispel. There's a ton of stuff in his kit that just allows him to further bolster what Jedi Master Luke is trying to do. He also has a dispel on basic, not super relevant for the Lord Vader team, but it is nice to have, I guess. So all that combined, again, very similar to the last counter. Hoda is not necessary here. He can be swapped out from other stuff, but the other 3 are pretty important. And then again, very much along the same vein as the Malgus killer, if you do decide to go with the Lord Vader killer, you can still get a somewhat decent Bastila team here, and then again, keep all the other teams you want. You can still keep Leia, you can still keep JMK, you can still keep Gas, you can still keep Kyle Katarn, Juhani, whatever else it is, you can do all those things. Now, I will say again, there will be more flexibility in team counts, particularly in TW, where the Qui-Gon Jinn team does not exist, and a lot of these other characters can be absorbed into the other ones as it is. But for the most part, this is what GAC is going to look like. So let me know what you guys think. I will leave the infographic below. Oh, one last thing before we go. 3v3. If you are going to do that and you want to kill Malgus, really any Jedi Knight Luke Cal Kestis combo will destroy it. I personally like Hoda in there just because he's more of a free agent for myself, but you can kind of slot in whoever you want. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time, stay awesome.